In this video, I'm going to be providing an update to our AJ Bell Dodl review. Now, the original review you can still find on our YouTube channel. We'll put a link to it in the notes of this video, so you can go back and watch that, because it does talk about the various features of the app itself, but you can also see how it's evolved over time. But I am going to give you an overview in this particular video and compare it to some of the other apps and services out there. Now, if you find this useful, please do make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, but also leave any questions and comments below. Now, we'll be running through an article on the Money to the Masses website, which is a complete independent review of the app itself. So there's a link to that in the notes of the video as well, so you can click on that and read that at your own leisure and go through all the various details, features and comparisons. Now, having said all of that, I have to summarize AJ Bell Dodl's app is pretty good. Now, all the different options that are out there, it's as if somebody sat down and said, look, let's do some market research. What is it that new investors really want? And they went and looked at all the different features and things that people wanted or liked about other competitors. So Vanguard, for example, its low cost charging structure. Also the life strategy funds. Also there was the ability or the need to want to invest in some themed funds or some portfolios, base portfolios of varying risk nature, but also have the ability to dabble in some share trading. It's as if somebody went out there and compiled what is the wish list. Think of it like a Swiss Army knife for investors. So it's a bit of jack of all trades, but it isn't necessarily the best of any of them. But for new investors, it is very good and is proving very popular. So what I'm going to do is jump across to the review on the Money to the Masses website to give you some of the highlights. Now, you can see it on screen here. AJ Bell Dodl, one of the drawbacks is that it doesn't have a junior ISA. Now, it didn't have it at launch. We thought it would come, but it hasn't done so. Now, that isn't necessarily a bad thing for most investors, because you can still have a lifetime ISA, a stocks and shares ISA account. You can have a general investment account. So there are still plenty of options for you. Now, I'm going to scroll down and look at what you can invest in with Dodl. And as I said, it's a bit of an app that does a little bit of everything. So you have the 37 funds that you can invest in through Dodl, and they have 8 of their own range. So you can see those are the AJ Bell Balanced Funds, the Adventurous Global Growth. They're listed there on screen, and what they are giving you almost a core portfolio that you could possibly pick that has some element of risk associated with it. So cautious there, you can see, going through to adventurous. But what is good is they also have these themed funds, and yes, some of the names are a little bit corny, but what they do is give you exposure to certain themes. And the first ones you can see there are the all-in-one themed funds, and these are basically Vanguard life strategy funds. So those are the ones that I mentioned at the start of the video, and you can't really go anywhere online without some kind of discussion when it comes to investing that it doesn't involve the live strategy funds from Vanguard. They are cheap, but they also give exposure to a diversified portfolio of equities, and also you get exposure to fixed interest. So we're talking about bonds. Now, the percentage you can see in the name relates to the exposure to equities. So this is a big tick in the box for AJ Bell Dodl. They've given exposure to these particular Vanguard funds. But if you go down, as I mentioned, there's some slightly corny names on here, but they give you things like the Chinese Titans, which is really another way of saying that this particular fund or themed fund is giving you exposure to China. It's the HSBC MSCI China ETF. So you can go down and you can see there's a big tech version. Whatever theme you're probably likely to be interested in is in this list. So it includes gold. So that gives you some ability to diversify away from, if you wanted to have a core portfolio in some kind of base fund. Now, the other thing you can obviously do, you can see mentioned, is you can invest in shares from UK and US companies, and there's 81 shares in the list as I make this video. It will change, and obviously if you keep reading this review, we update it regularly, but you can also invest in stocks. That is a big advantage of this platform over many others out there. So for example, some of the robo-advisors out there like Nutmeg, which is mentioned in the comparison below, they don't offer the ability to invest in shares. You'd have to have another platform in order to do that if you wanted to be a Nutmeg customer. Now, looking at the fees and charges, AJ Bell has created Dodl and has focused on low cost. So the annual charge here is 0.15% per account. Now that is 0.15% of the asset value, so how much you've got in that account. And there is a minimum of £1 a month. Now that means that if you have about £8,000 in investments in an account, then that equates to the £1 per month charge. So therefore you will be paying effectively 0.15% only if your portfolio or your account value goes above £8,000. But where does that really place it in the scheme of things? So look at this table down here. You can see the charging structure AJ Bell Dodl compared to Vanguard, Nutmeg and Moneybox. Now, there's Freetrade also mentioned on there. I'm going to focus on Moneybox because that is probably one of the closest competitors to Dodl. Now, their charging structure is more expensive. It's 0.45% and there is a monthly subscription that is charged. Now, there are lots of people who like Moneybox, but I'd argue AJ Bell Dodl is a very good alternative. It is cheaper. Vanguard, you can see there, 0.15% is the platform fee with a maximum charge of £375 a year. Now, you can see where Dodl got their 0.15% charge. Now, with Nutmeg, the annual platform charge, it varies. It depends on the investments that you make, but it's 0.45 to 0.75%. So you can see that AJ Bell Dodl does tick a lot of boxes for beginner investors. And so you can see the pros and cons. It's low cost, easy to use, and it does also offer that lifetime ISA wrapper, so you can invest in a lifetime ISA. Now the cons, yes, the choice is quite varied in the types of things you can invest in, but you can still only invest in 81 shares from the UK and US and 37 funds. If you want a much wider choice, then you'd need to look at platforms like Interactive Investor, for example. Yes, that minimum monthly fee of £1 is a little bit of a drawback, but if you end up investing more, then that kind of drops away and you end up only being charged the 0.15% management fee. Obviously, as the amounts you invest get larger, you might start looking at other investment platforms anyway. The idea that it's app only, for some people they might not like that, for others that may be a real positive. Now in summary, AJ Bell Dodl is probably best suited to beginner investors who want to invest at least £100, or if they've got at least £25 per month they want to put in by direct debit. Now if they're looking to put in smaller amounts than that, then they are better off looking at alternatives, things like Plum or Moneybox, as both allow you to invest from as little as £1. But as I mentioned, do bear in mind the charge instructions on those as well. We'll put links in the notes of this particular video to our reviews of those two platforms. Now, while the Dodl app doesn't offer a junior ISA, you can still get the stocks and shares ISA, a lifetime ISA, a pension and a general investment account. So there's plenty to choose from. In terms of investment, like I say, there's lots of choice in terms of the range of different types of investments. So 8 ready-made portfolios, 37 funds and 29 themed funds you've got on there, but also a good selection of UK and US stocks. And that is roughly about 4 times as many as Moneybox has at the moment. But of course, in its own way, that is a slight limitation because you haven't got the widest choice that you could get on something like Interactive Investor. And as mentioned, the Dodl charging structure is cheap at just 0.15% of the value of the portfolio, but there is a minimum fee of £1 per month per product, so do bear that in mind. And if you found this useful, then please do make sure that you hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel and leave any comments or questions below so that I can answer them. But I've also put a link in the notes of this video to an article that gives a roundup of all of the best investing apps out there right now, so you can compare all of them that are in the market in one place.